Hi, I'm Trina Young, the Elvis News and Travel Examiner and host of Trina's Virtual Tours. Come with me to the top of the hill at the Elvis Presley Birthplace in Tupelo, Mississippi, as I interview the sculptor of these two beautiful statues of Elvis Presley. The sculptor's name is Michiel VanderSommen, and he will share the fascinating behind-the-scenes stories in the making of the Becoming statues, which feature Elvis at age 11 and the adult Elvis as a superstar. Michiel also sculpted the Elvis at 13 statue, which we have discussed in a separate video.
How this came about, this sculpture, Henry Dodge asked me to think about a sculpture in where Elvis has a vision, and the vision of becoming famous. And that he, as a young boy, 11 years old, sits on this hill and looks over Tupelo and think about the future. And that's really what I wanted to portray. He let me know that story, but we both thought about how we're going to do this now, because you have to have some kind of an idea where you're going with it. But how are you going to portray that vision? And we had all kinds of ideas, and he wanted first the old Elvis behind the young boy on one knee in a cape, but Elvis had to look up to the heavens. But we played with several scenarios, and after several days actually, I made a maquette of this, a model, very, very rough model. That's how it came about. He approved it.
What about why is the older Elvis 7 feet? Why not like 6 feet close?
Well, a good question. Because he felt he had to be overpowering. If it was the same size, it would be too lifelike. It's supposed to be a vision from the young Elvis. He was looking into the future, and it's more in symbolic height. And that's why it came about. But yes, it's a big sculpture. I still remember having it in my basement, and it was really a challenge. The biggest challenge in the sculpture actually was the cape. Well, David Lee really posed in this outfit. Really, he has an outfit just like it. He posed with the cape and everything. We met at a church parking lot, and he posed for me for at least an hour. And I took pictures all over, in detail about this. And later on, Dick Guyton shipped to me this little lion hat that he wore. And he gave me all kinds of detail. And later on, we talked about the detail in the back from the eagle here.
Did you use the replica of his cape?
Well, really, David Lee posted the whole thing.
Okay.
He had everything laid out already, and he pointed certain things out to me. Like this here, the eagle here, the eagle on his pants, and the whole ornament, the color here is all authentic. And this belt is authentic, the chains, and David Lee had the whole outfit for me to photograph.
Okay.
I made the cape by having the sculpture done first in rough, not with all the ornaments on it yet. But I had the sculpture with the hands in clay already and steel armature. And then I hang a cloth, the way you see it here, on that clay structure. And then I sprayed wax on the cloth, and then it shrank a little bit. So after it was shrank, I had to add another section to it. And that's how I made the original cape, basically, in cloth. And then I had to spray the whole thing with wax to make it sturdy. And then I had to work on the back, the eagle.
Okay.
When it was hard in wax, I basically cut it off from, and everything was drawn on the wax cloth. I cut it off. And first I also hang it on a clothesline, basically, to draw on it. Anyway, then I put the whole thing together, and this, what you see here, had the eagle drawn on. I put rough sand on it, sprayed it on there. I glued it a little bit, spray glue, and I added it on there.
Okay.
In a treat for an eagle. And put my dots of clay and wax on there and shaped the eagle. Basically what you see here used to be just sand, rough sand. That's to get the texture.
Okay.
Okay. Elvis 11. The face I used forensics from since I had the bust from Elvis at 13. I had to bring his age back from 13 to 11 to get this likeness because I didn't have very many pictures of him. And in forensics, the face changes, the nose changes a little bit, and the mouth changes, the chin changes. So that's how I created this Elvis at 11 from the Elvis at 13. I had basically the master had from the 11 to 13 in my studio, and from there I basically remade the 11. So David Lee posed for the large one, and for when I did this one, I had a father and son pose for me in my backyard for both sculptures, for the concept actually, to be approved by Henry Dodge. And he happened to be an Elvis fan. He happened to be a reporter for a newspaper in Greensboro, and his son at the right age. I got him via a friend of mine. I was looking for somebody at the right age, and the right posture, and the right. And somebody said, "Well, why don't you ask?" What's his name? Anyway, and he said, "Yeah, I'll do that. It's fun." So he posted, and he wrote a big article later on that he said was a sit-in for Elvis.
Wow.
big article in the newspaper.
What about the guitar? Did you have to?
The guitar I made up, and I took some research because this is a smaller guitar, and I didn't know that. But when I did some research on the guitars, the guitar that I had in mind was too big. But I still wanted to be authentic. I wanted to look right, but also be right. So I did some research, and you have indeed different guitar sizes for different ages. I didn't know that. So when I had the sculpture basically set, I played around with different sizes, which one looked good. And that's what I did. Because I didn't want to have it stick out too far, just for danger that somebody cuts themselves or trips over it. So that's how that came about. Yeah, that was again placed by the city, of course. It has two big stainless steel pipes. Stainless steel pipe goes through his whole body, basically into the ground, so it doesn't blow away by the Mississippi weather. Especially with a cape like this, and that's why there's a wall behind it too, to cover it a little bit from the wall, from the weather, from the wind, because it can be hefty. But that's how it is installed. Here too, they have two pipes going into the ground, basically, into the cement block, into the ground.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of my future videos. And be sure to choose one of my other Elvis videos here to watch next.